Event number 19 on the road to Ras Al Khaimah sees us in the Galgorm Resort and Spa Northern Ireland Open, presented by Modest Golf. How about this for Magnus A. Carlsen, the Swede, short of the par 5 18th and opting to putt from off the green from at least 50 feet for an eagle. Hitting the pin, not dropping, and ending up so close. He signed for a 4 under 67. One better than him is Scotland's Calum Hill, playing in just his 5th Challenge Tour event. He signed off in style on the last for a bogey-free 5 under par. Jack Sr., with 3 top 10s to his name already this season, is looking to make gains on the rankings as he is currently sitting 28th. His back 9 was where he made most of his damage, carding 4 birdies and only 1 on his finishing hole to put him right in the mix. At 6 under is Richard Finch. He hasn't had the best of seasons, but has a good track record in these parts, having won south of the border on the European Tour back in 2008. Another at 6 under is the unmistakable character of Marcus Armitage, winner in Ireland on the Euro Pro Tour back in 2013. And after this birdie here on the par 3 14th, he had this message for our cameraman. But there's 2 familiar faces at the top after day 1. Welshman Stuart Manley with a bogey-free 64, 6th on the rankings. He's looking for his 2nd win this season to take a step closer to a European Tour card. And on that same number is Min-Kyu Kim. In rainy conditions, the youngest ever winner on the Challenge Tour back in May, has only made 2 cuts since then, but seems to be settled here this week. Denmark's Victor Gebhard Osterby sits at -6, and his fellow countryman Mark Flint Haustrup is just 1 shot back, with Scotland's Ross Kellett sitting nicely at -4. It was wet, windy and cold conditions for day 2 in Northern Ireland at Galgorm Castle. Out early was Marcus Armitage, a mixed day for the Englishman, but a 1 over 72 sees him at -5 after 36 holes, still with a smile though. Scotland's Duncan Stewart was going well early on this tricky approach into the par 3 14th, the highlight of his day, leading to a tap-in birdie. He's at 6 under. Moving up into the top 10 are more Scots. Calum Hill, with only 1 blemish on his card today, a double bogey on the 13th, but 6 birdies sees him follow up yesterday's 66 with a 67 today. He's at 9 under. Alongside fellow countryman Scott Henry, and even in the tough conditions, he managed 2 9s of 33, which sees him sitting in a tie for 6th spot. Overnight leader Stuart Manley got off to a decent enough first 9 holes, shooting 3 under, but this par save on the first was needed and was pretty much the story of his second 9. He's one of 4 players in 2nd spot. Mark Flint Haustrup has just 2 top 10s all season, and a bogey-free 66 today sees him right in the mix for the weekend. France's Victor Perez was tearing up the course on his front 9, 28 going out and 8 under through his first 10 holes. The imminent 59 must have been on his mind, but as his birdies stalled, he then dropped a further shot on 17 to shoot a level par back 9. And there's one man who will be having the local fans very excited come the weekend. Cormac Sharvin at the beginning of the week said he was expecting something from himself, and boy did he show it. A bogey-free 65 sees him the 4th player in tied 2nd. But there's just 1 player alone at the top, South Korean Min-Kyu Kim, starting the day on the 10th tee. He then was 11 under through 9 holes, but a double bogey and finishing off with an eagle on the last sees him take a 1-shot lead going into Saturday. Confirmation there then of how things look after 36 holes. Scotland's Ross Kellett sitting alongside his fellow Scots there in tied 6th. And another Northern Irishman in Jonathan Caldwell in 9th spot with Lars van Meel.
Moving day in Northern Ireland, and conditions were a lot calmer than the previous 2 days, with Min-Kyu Kim enjoying a one-shot lead over the chasing pack. The home hope was looking towards Cormac Sharvin. The Ulsterman started the day one shot behind Kim, and he couldn't have got off to a better start. Birdie here on the first hole got him going, but eventually signed for a level par 71. He stays at 10 under. Welshman Rhys Enoch couldn't have judged this tricky putt any better for birdie on his way to a 66. He sits alongside Sharvin in a tie for 8th. At the beginning of the week, Ross Kellett said he needed a big performance in this part of the season, and it looks like it's coming. This dialed-in approach to the par 3 fifth, one of the day's highlights. He finishes at 12 under par. Overnight leader Min-Kyu Kim had a very average day, 16 pars and just 2 birdies for the 17-year-old. He sits on his own in 5th spot. Denmark's Mark Flint Harstrup has only dropped 2 shots all week. The 34-year-old signed for his 3rd consecutive round of 66. He moves to 15 under and claims 3rd spot. Alongside him is Welshman Stuart Manley, already a winner this season, and 6th on the road to Ras Al Khaimah. He is looking to cement his place in the top 15 of the rankings, and a good week here will be a big boost. But there are 2 tied at the top. Francis Victor Perez, 1 dropped shot en route to a 65, including 2 birdies in his last 2 holes with this approach on the 17th. Can he notch his first win of the season tomorrow? Also challenging at the top is Scott Henry. Rounds of 67, 66 and a 64 today sees him sit alongside Perez. His last win was 6 years ago, and he'll be looking to rekindle those memories tomorrow for sure. Just 2 others in the mix for the top 10, Dutchman Rainier Saxton and Carlos Del Moral in a tie for 8th, and Calum Hill alongside his countryman Kellett in 6th spot.
The final day at Galgorm Castle was one to remember, as Victor Perez and Scott Henry started the day with a one-shot lead over a chasing pack. It wouldn't be a home winner this time round, but Cormac Sharvin would pick up the Bridgestone Award for the best Irish player, finishing in 9th place. Henry took control from the off, birdie on his 2nd hole. He then had another here on 7 and a further on 8 to move to 18 under par. Another man matching him was one of his playing partners, Stuart Manley, as it started to become a 2-horse race, matching him at 18 under through 9. Making gains on the leaders was Calum Hill. Out in 33, he then went on to birdie 3 of his next 6 holes to move to 17 under. But it would be a struggle on the front 9 for overnight leader Victor Perez. 4 drop shots in his first 6 holes saw him move out of contention. South Korean Min-Kyu Kim was in a similar situation, but a fantastic closing 5 birdies in his last 6 holes, including this chip-in on 16, saw him finish alongside Perez. With a further birdie on 17 for Calum Hill to move to 18 under, he was then faced with this eagle opportunity on the last to set a clubhouse lead at 20 under. Agonisingly close. It all looks set in stone for Henry. Stepping onto the 15th tee, he was 22 under, but 3 wayward drives on 16, 17 and 18 meant he had sadly thrown his chances away. The only person who could realistically match Hill was Manley, and if he birdied the last to move to 19 under, it would force a playoff. Not to be.
Has he missed it? Yeah, okay. Calum, well done, mate.
Cheers very much. Thank you very much.
Confirmation then that Henry and Manley finish in a tie for 2nd, with Kim and Perez picking up much needed cash alongside Singbra at 16 under.
and this is just surreal. I don't know how it's happened, but I feel very fortunate, very lucky, and thankful.
That win moves Calum up to 43rd in the rankings. Next week, the Challenge Tour moves on to Geneva for the Rolex Trophy. We'll see you there.